Flight team stand up! The most unethical hooper in basketball. Now, we just finished reacting to the Golden State Warriors dismantling, destroying the OKC Thunder, the future potential NBA final opponents. Well, they're on the West Coast, so they're going to have to get through the Warriors first, which means the Warriors winning 6 games. Better luck next year, Thunder. But anyway, bro. Yo, and I was looking at the end of the game box score when he had 52 points. And, bro, I seen bro attempted 21 free throws. Now, a lot of people had a lot of mixed opinions and letting me know certain things like, hey, Flight, I watched the full game and SGA truly was getting fouled. And then I was seeing other comments from other people saying that, like, yeah, SGA is like a free throw merchant. I'm glad that you're finding out about it. There's a whole bunch of mixed reviews about how SGA's game is. Jimmy Arlo is going to be here breaking it down. Let's check it out.
The ethical hooper. A player who is true to the game, plays basketball the way it was meant to be played. No flopping, no stat padding, just pure hoops. And the opposite of the unethical hooper. The player who relies on foul baiting and gimmicks and a barrage of free throws to fill the stat sheet.
Hey, to be fair, if you want to talk about like somebody who started the foul baiting, and you guys know I mess with Harden, bro. Harden was the one who, you feel me? Hey. He started that entire trend when he went to the Rockets in 2017, bro. As soon as he left the OKC Thunder and he was allowed to, because if you remember if you have real NBA knowledge, when Harden first got to the league, when he was with the Thunder, he was a 6-man. He didn't even start. You know what I'm saying? The no beard, barely beard Harden, you know what I'm saying? Once he got traded or signed, I don't remember if he got traded or he released or cut, I don't remember how that worked. But once he went to the Rockets, bro, yo, I just remember the amount of times Harden was just flopping so much during that 2017 era. You know what I'm saying? It almost got to a point, bro, where like, damn, it was hard to watch basketball, bro, because other NBA players was kind of doing a trend. And then I want to say like right before quarantine happened or around that 2019 era, that's when like the NBA, like, okay, we're going to start cracking down on all this flopping. We're going to start cracking down on all these foul baiting free throws and stuff like that. But, bro, if it's somebody to blame off the rip, it has to be James Harden. And it hurts me to say this because he's one of my favorite players in the NBA, but, bro, it has to be a fact. Like, he started the entire foul baiting right now. So
right now, there is an unethical hooper among us. Well, at least that's the reputation Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is building at the moment, with some fans claiming his historic season has been propped up with foul hunting and an absurd free throw volume manufactured from gimmicks and tricks that are a disservice to the game. But if Shai is a foul grifter, a free throw merchant, then I've got some bad news about some of
don't you dare bring up Iverson. No, I seen an Iverson highlight. Jimmy Howard, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that, Jimmy. Maybe you're just using it just for, like, you know what I'm saying, editing production-wise. No. I seen an Iverson clip there, bro. Don't do that.
We're all-time favorite players.
Damn. Oh, hell no. Look at this.
Players.
Bro. Yo, certain NBA players get away with everything, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yo, if even, like, if Curry was to do this, bro, this is like a 10-game suspension. Michael Jordan is literally forehead to forehead with this referee, bro. That is called power, bro. Holy moly. And the ref literally just like accepted it.
Today's video is sponsored by Drafters. You can bigger pay daily fit. New customers, $100 in sports race continues to. As the 2025 NBA MVP race continues to grow closer and closer, fans across the league are finding any and every hair to split to pick a side between two players having historically great seasons. The impossibly good Serbian gunning for his 4th MVP, or the superstar guard looking to break a 6-year chokehold big men have had on the award. And with a race this tight, deciding the most valuable player in the league may just boil down to the smallest, seemingly insignificant things, like free throws. Now, basketball isn't much of a thinking man's sport, but leave it up to us to create a philosophical divide amongst
how do you feel about it? Basketball isn't much of a thinking man's sport, bro. You have to be smart, not in terms of smart like book-wise and like academic-wise smarts, but like, bro, no, you have to have some type of IQ to play basketball. Because look at me, you know what I'm saying? Real hoopers can speak upon this myself. You have to have just certain IQ, little things of knowing when to go on the floor, when to do this and that. It doesn't even need to be explained. Like, you have to have IQ to play ball.
But leave it up to us to create a philosophical divide amongst the type of players we like and don't like. On one side, you have the locally sourced, all-natural, ethical hoopers.
Now, where's Curry?
And on the other, you have players who essentially rely on a bag of
wow. Oh, wait, he's right there. My bad.
gimmicks to navigate games and get free buckets from the line. Do I believe basketball actually has any sort of moral code? No. In fact, the idea of a morally superior basketball player seemed like a joke until it entered the vocabulary of head coaches around the league, making it about as real as anything else. But there is something distinctly different about these two styles of play, both aesthetically and productively. The real question is how reliant on free throws these alleged unethical hoopers are, and are they truly earning their trips to the free throw line, or are they tampering the game with their bag of tricks? And a question we all need to consider, does Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his game even warrant the label of unethical? Now, one way to approach this question is simply by looking at the rates at which players are attempting free throws. When looking at a metric like free throw attempts per field goal attempt, SGA ranks 24th among all players this season, behind players like Trae Young, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, Giannis, and even an aging James Harden, who was able to escape the claims of foul baiting and stat padding years ago. So just purely looking at the rate at which players are drawing fouls, SGA isn't doing anything out of the ordinary. But to better understand Shai's scoring profile, we need to look at the kinds of fouls Shai draws and where they're coming from. Most shooting fouls don't happen out here, they happen in here. Players that stay aggressive and drive the ball more tend to put more pressure on the defense and draw more fouls. This is why a player like Dwayne Wade, for example, who spent his prime years attempting 10 free throws a game, was never
like, to be fair, you guys know, obviously, I'm only a Warriors fan, and then we only react to the Thunder whenever they're playing like a high-level team or they're playing my team, all right? Now, if SGA is attacking the rim like the way he does, I don't think you can really call him a free throw merchant, because to be fair, this is actually fine what Wade was doing back then. Before Wade started to develop, and how I know this is because I got the free Heat games back in the day when I used to grow up in Florida, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna, you know what I'm saying, like, not stop saying that. Like, bro, I probably, like, through, like, 2004 to, like, maybe, like, 2009, I probably, like, reacted to at least, or not reacted, watched full sports, because we didn't know we're on YouTube. That's when I was watching full sports games back then. I probably have seen about at least 60-plus Heat games. Okay? Now, nonetheless, before I want to say that '08 season, I think whatever the season where Wade hit that game-winning shot when Derrick Rose was playing on the Bulls back then, and it was in double overtime, and he stole the ball, right, and he went and did a, drifting, three-point game winner. That was the season where he was averaging 30 points per game. That was his best season when he ever played, right? And that was the season he also, started to develop a better three-point shot. Anytime before that, you can even look up the proof, through, 2K stats and, NBA Live stats. Dwayne Wade had, usually, I believe, a 65 to, a 70 rated three. He was known as, a slasher. I will never, ever flame any type of NBA player for continuously attacking the paint. That's why when people would try to say, even with, a Kumpo, if he gets to the free throw line a lot, I kind of always ignore it because a Kumpo literally is a rim runner, which is nothing wrong with that. He's literally has an early 2000s type of game style and attacking the paint at will and getting fouls. People are just not going to let you get free layups or just slightly contested layups, bro. They're going to start to put a body on you. They're going to start to foul. I don't ever have a problem with this. I do have a problem, however, with players if let's say they have a mid-range game or a three-point type of game, right? And they're just constantly they're shooting the ball and they're just purposely falling to the ground acting like they had all the types of contact. It's one thing to do that D-Wade pump fake glitch. You know what I'm talking about, where you pump fake and you lean into the player. Nobody told you to jump. You know what I'm saying? Keep your feet on the ground defensively. That's fine. But bro, when you're constantly shooting a mid-range shot and a three-point shot or a drifting mid-range shot or maybe a post fadeaway and then falling to the ground going oh my goodness, this and that, bro, that's just abusing trying to get to the free throw line at that point. That's the problem where it draws the line.
With any foul hunting, he earned his free throws. This season, the player who drives to the basket far more than anyone else in the entire league is Shai.
Really?
In fact, nearly half of all of his free throw attempts are generated through his drives to the basket. And again,
so most of his free throws come to him just driving to the basket? Most of the highlights that I see, though, or people will talk about is that, he'll be on the mid-range and then he'll fall to the ground or make some excessive, body flopping, you know what I'm saying, type of situation where
If we look at the rate these
Wow.
drive leaders
You know
are
that?
drawing fouls on their drives, Shea is getting calls at an average rate, far from what you might see from other superstars both past and present. Which brings us to a real point of contention when it comes to SGA and his historic season. One of the odd and universally accepted aspects of NBA basketball is that superstars get calls. This has been a thing since the inception of the league. Once you transcend that highest tier of player, you essentially get the benefit of the doubt, even at times when you shouldn't.
He never controlled it, Michael.
Picked it up and didn't
But he didn't touch it with both hands. That's the thing. You think so, Michael? 55 hits, 2 to go.
Bro, that is fucking crazy. That is actually crazy. Now, you know what's funny? Like, it's still something unacceptable because you can still get a technical foul and hold up the game, and it's just not how you're supposed to play a sport. But now I see why these NBA players, especially, bro, always be in a ref's face, or just like, not even in their face, but always trying to talk to the refs. Do they still do shit like that? Anybody that watches full sports teams nowadays, do they still do this? Like, after a call is obviously blown, they can just, like, pitch to the ref, like, hey, you missed this call. Like, yeah, he did touch me. Like, what the fuck?
Michael, I didn't see 2 hands on him, Michael. But I believe you.
You did.
But I believe you.
Bro, this is astronomical. Ooh, Vocab Word reacts. This is astronomical glaze right here. Come on, man. Bro, I didn't see him, but I believe you, Michael. That is crazy amounts of glaze. Now, obviously, by this given point, when Jordan was playing for the Wizards, he was at the end of his career. But I'm pretty sure, obviously, the ref had to have been a huge fan of Jordan. He's seen probably his last 15 prior seasons and stuff like that.
We know
that's
this,
crazy.
and we accept it. And Shea is a superstar, except he hasn't consistently gotten these phantom superstar calls this season. Since the introduction of tracking data back in 1996, there have been 36 instances of a player averaging at least 30 points per game for a season. And when ranking these 36 individual seasons according to free throw rate, SGA this season ranks 26th, behind guards like Harden, Wade, Iverson, and Luka. But again, most shooting fouls should come from shots taken in the paint or around the rim. Of course, players do get clipped on threes and long jumpers and draw fouls by other means, but really it's getting downhill that tends to generate trips to the line. And specifically among guards, Shea gets into the paint and attempts more shots from inside than any other prolific scorer since the introduction of tracking data. This season, Shea is attempting nearly 54% of all of his shots from within 10 feet of the basket. Meanwhile, players like Kobe, Iverson, Luka, Harden, and Dame all have multiple seasons where they weren't getting into the paint nearly as much and still yielded far more trips to the free throw line. Shea is statistically the most aggressive volume scoring guard in recent NBA history. He takes the most shots that historically should earn trips to the free throw line, and there isn't a single metric that suggests his free throws are inflated or unwarranted. Of the previously mentioned 36 seasons of 30 points or more a game, the average number of free throws taken per game across the board is 10. This season, Shea is averaging just 8.3. So, if anything, considering his usage and his play style, Shea is actually not getting enough calls. If we've learned anything from witnessing the last decade of scoring maestros, it's that this is just the nature of great scorers. They're hard to stop. They force the defense to get physical. They get you in positions you don't want to be in. Overreacting, reaching, even taking gambles hoping it yields you a stop or a turnover, when more often than not, it's just going to end up in another trip to the free throw line. And on an abstract scale of basketball morality, I don't think SGA plays an unethical style of hoops. I think he's a better and more prolific scorer than some fans are willing to give him credit for. He's not relying on free throws to get his numbers. When compromised, the defense is relying on fouling him just to slow him down. Most of Shea's drawn shooting fouls look something like this, where he drives into the lane and inexplicably rips through the defender's arms to put a...
I won't lie. Okay, I don't have a problem with this because I just finished reacting to the Warriors at Thunder game, and I've seen at least 4 clips in the highlights we was reacting to of Shea doing that exact thing. If he's doing that, okay, that's not a problem. But I have also seen clips from other games where he'll be posting up and he'll fall away or just like be doing a drifting jump shot or just be taking a straight up open jump shot. and the player never really touches him like that, and he just falls to the ground.
A shot. It is damn near impossible to predict, and it works almost every time a defender cuts him off or puts a body on him. And we've seen this before with James Harden. A free trip to the line disguised as a shot attempt. In fact, this is like the 2.0 version of Harden's rip-through, because it does a much better job of masking itself as an actual shot rather than an attempt to just draw a foul. And I think that's where most fans get frustrated with this kind of basketball. It's not necessarily the outcome of the move, but rather the intent. Because we know he's not actually trying to score the ball here. He is purely looking for a foul, and he knows he can get these calls. And you could call this unethical hoops.
Okay, that's not a problem.
You could call it smart basketball.
That's a
Kobe
foul,
Bryant
obviously.
was notorious for making opposing players pay for bad defense, drawing fouls for the sake of drawing fouls. And when he did it, it wasn't viewed as his.
This is a different. Okay, the reason I knew he was going to say that this wasn't viewed the way this was. Okay, let's be fair, bro. If you were paying attention to basketball in the early 2000s, especially, bro, Kobe was really getting fouled. Like, I that's why nobody really ever tried to call Kobe like a flopper or nothing like that, bro. No, he was actually getting fouled. And I never was a fan of the Lakers at all and everything like that. Like, and I would even see it for myself. Like, Kobe would literally get like, bro, no, they was fouling the hell out of him. Bro, especially, like, I want to say, like, after, like, the 05-06 season when he was averaging that 34 points per game, Real NBA Knowledge Reacts right here, and he had that 81-point game, like, the NBA players, defenders especially, bro, yo, they was having, like, bro, all types of pressure defense on him all types of times.
So for taking advantage of the rules, it was the defender's fault for falling for the move in the first place. If you don't want to get baited, don't fall for the bait. You reach, I teach, as some half-decent basketball player once said. Take this play here.
Were you talking about Michael Jordan or Gary Payton?
Where he gets the defense on his hip, out of position, and reaching in to disrupt the shot. Now, Shea is baiting the foul here, and he's going to get it every time, because he already beat the defense 3 steps ago. Or this play here, where Shea has a 7-footer in a mismatch, feeds him the bait, and Markkanen falls for it, leading to the shooting foul. Some fans may say this is an act of basketball sin, intentionally jumping into the defender instead of just pulling up off the step back. But I don't see it that way. You've got a 7-footer on an island with no help guarding the league's leading scorer, and you leave your feet on a pump fake. Shea isn't playing unethical hoops. He's taking advantage of bad defense. All the great scorers knew this, and they all took advantage of it. As much as we resented the tricks James Harden would deploy throughout his prime scoring years, it's worth asking the question. Was it the foul baiting and free throws that allowed him to be the scorer he was? Or was he such a great scorer that he could bend the defense to his will whenever he wanted to? Same thing goes for a player like Joel Embiid. If the gimmicks added an extra 10% to his production, would we concede that he was in fact a historic scorer even if he had 90% of the production, but he did it ethically? Among high-volume scorers of this century, players who averaged at least 30 points per game since 2000, according to this idea of honest scoring, 2016 Stephen Curry would be the most ethical scorer, averaging 30 points per game with just 5 free throw attempts.
Nice.
And on a scale of
bro,
free throw
imagine
reliance,
if Curry had the amount of free throws half these players do, bro.
2025 Shea is far closer to Steph than he is to countless other all-time great scoring seasons. If SGA's game falls into the category of unethical hooper, then so does Kobe's, and Luka's, and Dame's, and Iverson's, and Durant's, and all of our favorite all-time great scorers. It is an unfair label on one of the best individual seasons in recent NBA history, and it is objectively not true. And if none of that changed your mind, then maybe this will. Here is every single season in modern NBA history where a player averaged at least 25 points per game. 354 individual seasons since 1980. And they are graphed in terms of scoring average and free throw attempts per game. The further right a player is, the more free throws they attempted. The further up a player is, the more points they averaged. So way off to the right are the seasons of all-time high free throw attempts, and where you'll find most historic scoring seasons. Like some Embiid seasons, some LeBron seasons, Jordan's highest scoring seasons, Luka, Harden, Shaq. Even the pure bucket getters like Durant and McGrady often found themselves at the line during the peak of their powers. So where does Shea's 2025 season land? It's right here. The 18th highest scoring season in modern NBA history,
Really?
while attempting just the 142nd most free throws per per game. And that, my friends, is some honest, homegrown, ethical hoops.
Wow. Wow. Hey, I mean, I'm going to be fair. I'm going to have to take back maybe SGA isn't a free throw merchant. He just might not be. I mean, we had an educated breakdown throughout this entire video of everything else, and it's just like, I mean, in a way, High Roller is right. It's like most of the time SGA is driving to the rim, and he is taking advantage of the key word he said was bad defense. It is bad defense to constantly spam jumping up and just like be having your hands on somebody's like arm or hips and stuff like that when you can't even hand check no more. What, guys? What do you have to say? I mean, I'm all for just like, you know what I'm saying, getting educated and like, you know, correcting myself of anything wrong. I mean, until like further else, I mean, now I'm gonna be fair. If I see a game where free throws at the box store after reacting to the highlights and I see SGA have like 30 free throw attempts, I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of sketchy. But for now, I might just have to take back SGA being a free throw merchant. What do you guys have to say after reviewing and looking at this entire video? Do you still think he's a free throw merchant or no?